Welcome to Shepherd's Digest. This is the Daily Edition. I'm Pastor Terry from River City Hope Church in Louisville, Kentucky. And this week we'll be revisiting some of the major points from the sermon, The Road to Discipleship. In this message, we're going to take a look at how Jesus chose his disciples and try to see the example that he set for us. In Luke chapter 6, beginning with verse 12, it says, Jesus went out to a mountainside to pray and spent the night praying to God. When morning came, he called his disciples to him and chose 12 of them. Now, as we read the Gospels, we notice that Jesus had a plan for his ministry, a strategy, if you will. And the first major decision he had to make was about who would be his core group of disciples. Now, we know that Jesus had far more than 12. In fact, at this point in time, he had many disciples. But here, Jesus specifically chooses 12 to be his core followers. We also see here that Jesus makes a strategic withdrawal. In verse 12, it says, Jesus went out to a mountainside to pray. Jesus got alone with God the Father to implement this next important stage of their plan. Now, the gospel writers note that before every important event in Jesus' life, he would take time to go off by himself and pray. I'm reminded of a story to illustrate this. Doug and his new bride, Sylvia, they were escorted to their hotel's bridal suite. Now, they arrived in the early hours of the morning, and in the suite they saw a sofa, chairs, and a table, but where was the bed? Then they discovered the sofa was also a bed. So they unpacked it and spent the night on a lumpy mattress that had sagging and creaking springs. And as you might expect, they didn't get much sleep. The next day, they both woke up with sore, aching backs. Now, after breakfast, Doug went down to the hotel desk to give the management a tongue lashing. This was their honeymoon suite, and they expected better than a sofa bed. The desk clerk replied, "Did you open the door in the room?" To which Doug said, "What door?" They all went up to the honeymoon suite, and the clerk went over to a door in the room and opened it. Now, what Doug had thought was no more than an adjoining room door turned out to be a beautiful bedroom suite. Not only did it contain a very large, comfortable bed, but it was complete with fresh flowers and a large fruit basket. So here's what we can learn from this. Making important decisions without consulting God the Father is like being satisfied with a sofa bed. And prayer is like opening another door and discovering that there is so much more. Before Jesus chose 12 from the crowd of people following him, he got alone with God the Father and he prayed. Now, prayer, if we're listening and not just talking, will reveal truths to us from the Father. The key, though, is asking and then listening. Thanks for joining me for this first installment in this series from the message, The Road to Discipleship. To watch the full message, you can view it on our church website, hope4rivercity.com. That's hope, the number 4, rivercity.com. And we've just recently added a videos page at shepherdsdigest.com where you'll find this series and other content from previous messages. And while you're there, you can also subscribe to the audio podcast of Shepherd's Digest, or just search for it by name anywhere that you get your podcasts. I'm Pastor Terry Wright from River City Hope Church in Louisville, Kentucky. That's all for now. I'll see you soon. God bless you.